Okay, so I am in an undisclosed location in Inyo County, California, and Jerry Oser, man, happened to post this, and Dan Lowe seen this and contacted me and got me in touch with Jerry, that he's found another Mystery Glyph site, or that's what I call them. The guys who was studying these before me called them the Western Message petroglyphs, but I didn't know that, so I named them my own thing. So anyway, so Jerry brought us, is kind enough to bring us here to this site. It's a new site for us. And with that said, Jerry, tell me how you found these, what you thought when you found them, and just give me the whole rundown there.
So, my whole thing is I'm a rock climber. Used to be a big rock climber. Was kind of ruling my life, you know, climbing rocks, and finding something like this was a big deal, especially if you found a boulder that nobody else ever climbed on before, because then you're getting first ascents, and it's a great thing. So, you know, you can see this boulder from the road down there, and you know, ever since I moved here 20 years ago, it was like, probably saw it and was like, one day I'm gonna walk up there. And then Charlie over here, he probably walked up there before I did, and so he saw it. And then for some reason I got it in my head about treasure hunting. I can't really remember the exact details, but so I just came back up here with the intent of taking a picture of it, and seeing if I could figure out what it meant. So I tried a lot, and then after failing miserably, I posted it on Reddit, and r/treasure hunting, something like that. And that's when Dan got a hold of me, said give me a call, and so I did. And then shortly thereafter I heard from Terry. So
at the time you didn't know that there was other of these? No
idea. It just was. It's just so it's unique to me anyway.
And so
you know,
I think to date, what does this make? How many of these scattered throughout the western United States, Lee?
This is 39.
39. So I knew I wasn't smart enough to figure out what these said, but I knew someday if I could find them, somebody else could kind of figure them out. And along comes Lee. So man, Lee, get in there. He's researched these, you know, heavier than I ever did. I just was looking for the locations. Tell me what you think this, and your opinions of this one, because this is your first time to this one also, and what you think this could be.
Well, I'm seeing this for the first time with you, Terry. But I have an approach to looking at these and trying to understand something about the symbol system. And in my research, I found that many of these symbols, probably 70% of them, you can find in ethnographic publications from the mid-1800s and a little after, from Native American traditions. And maybe 20% of them you can find in traditions from all over the world, Egyptian, Chinese, Maya, stuff like that. And I'd say 10% of these, I don't know where they come from. I just haven't found them. I don't know what they are. But when I go about trying to get an understanding of what it might be trying to say, I start with what I call a transcription, which is I go to the original ethnographic source where I found the image, and I just tag the image with what that source says the image means. So in that case, here we have this open rectangle with this little tine facing inward, and this would be the Ojibwa for great, or great many. And here we have a stick figure, which also comes from a couple of different Native American traditions, and it's a man, it's a person. And here again from the Ojibwa, we have a circle with a schematic shape of a human bust inside of it. And that we learn means hidden or obscure, like something that's not evident, like it's a mystery. We don't know. It's hidden, it's obscure. Then we have two horizontal parallel lines, which mean road. But here we have one road on top of another road. We have two roads parallel to each other. We have a man again, great or great many again. We have hidden or obscure again. And to finish the top line, we have a rising sun, which comes from the Pueblo tradition. Like Hopis draw their suns, their rising sun, their morning sun, like this, with a ground line, a half sun with a face in it. So it's morning, it's rising, it's a rising sun, that sort of thing. So in this particular top line, what's interesting to me is that the first three images are the same as the 5th, 6th, and 7th. In other words, on the other side of these roads. It's the same three images, just in a different order.
Oh, you're right.
Great, man, hidden, man, great, hidden. So all of a sudden the message has some kind of rhythm to it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, even if my translations are wrong, the images have the same rhythm.
Yeah.
Independent of the translation. So that's interesting about Western message. It's not the only time you get that rhythm when you look at the panels. So oftentimes, like in the Spanish, the adjective follows the noun. But in this case, it's reversed. You've got what I would expect to be an adjective, great, great many, before the noun, person. So I just make that into also a state of, I make it into a state of being, and I translate as greatness. Greatness in a man is hidden. The great man is hidden. Slightly different. What is it? We got the two roads. Maybe there's something about the road taken here, or maybe there's something about the high road and the low road. Maybe it's just different paths. I mean, I don't know. I haven't figured this out.
Well, you just got here, man, and for you to put this together like you are on the spur like this, I'm pretty amazed.
Well, you did send me a picture.
Oh, okay. You cheated. Okay.
I looked at the picture.
Okay.
Now there's a few interesting symbols on the bottom because there's like moccasin shape with the lines across it. You can find that exact same image in the Ojibwa Great Medicine Society birch bark scrolls. These were publications that were held within a secret society that nobody but the initiated members ever got to see, and they were part of song scores. You know, these guys, they would be memory aids for the guy who was doing the chant to remember the chant. And so this thing basically meant the magic transportation through space, like almost like magic flight, or if you think of it in a mundane way, walking quickly. All right. So here's something that's moving quickly from place to place, even if it's just mundane, like walking quickly. And look here, here's three of them in a row facing the other direction. Same symbol, but they flip the direction, and so maybe that one's going and these are returning. But if that one's going quickly, wherever it's going, these are going triple quickly, like maybe instantly, right? So we might test a translation for these as meaning instantly, you know, once we get it all laid out. Because once you get the definitions laid out, and basically you're looking at a word salad, you know, you just have these words, and you know, you don't have any connecting parts of speech, past, present, future, you don't know. So that kind of, it has to emerge. There's a certain point where you go from what's known to what you don't know. And I call that rock art poetics, because you got to read that into it. And depending upon how well known the images are and how much sense the layout makes, maybe you're getting closer to what the author meant, and maybe you're just getting closer to what's in your own head, hidden somewhere that you're just, you know, putting out there. Either way, you've said something interesting, you know, at the end of it.
I like it.
So that's how I go after it.
I like it.
Yeah.
How many individuals you thinking? I'm not thinking more than 2 or 3. What are you guys thinking?
I'm thinking it could be quite a few more.
Really? Because it looks like the same handwriting to me. To me, there's some that looks, you know, a little bit different, but it's kind of like the same person's handwriting. What I see. There's a couple examples where they're maybe a little bit different. That's why I think 2 or 3.
Yeah, there has to be something. Interesting. I'm still sort of the opinion there might be more than that. And I guess the reason I'm thinking that is I'm thinking in terms of the messages themselves. So if someone comes up here and they're leaving this message, which may be a prayer, or maybe a message to the gods, you know.
That's what I think it is some type of prayer, some kind of a message, some kind of a written oral history. That's what I think.
If it's a message to the gods, or even if it's a prayer, it's something that people share. If you look at religions throughout time, people share their rituals. They share their prayers. So I think that once they put it there not for themselves only, or for just God, but for the next person who's going to come along, who's also going to understand what that might mean. So I'm thinking, if I have a group, say, of traveling cowboys, guides, that type of thing, they might be leaving these messages in areas where they know that the next cowboy is going to come by.
The next cowboy ain't going to come up here.
Well,
You
they
can't
might.
guarantee, like the Provo side. There ain't a cowboy going to go up there. Well, I mean, how would you know to go up there?
Well, that's the thing. I think if you have a cowboy who is like Charbonneau and Sacagawea's son, who's also trained very highly in religions, Native American religions, they might have a whole system. They might have a system whereby they're talking down in the camp down here and they're saying, "This is where I left that message for God."
Yeah.
They don't have to necessarily just come across it, out of the blue.
Yeah.
Any more than we come across them out of the blue, where we have an exchange system where we're talking to one another about it.
Wait. That was such a great line. If you could just tell that to him again, I love that.
I would think it's a closely held group. I mean, I don't know, 2 or 3.
Great joke, though. I mean,
More.
and
That's what I think.
I think it's father and son, so there you go.
if it's just some.
Yeah, he thinks it's so very few, and I don't know, John, and I
Yeah.
think
Maybe it's not, I don't agree on
Father and son, I never
just,
thought about that, father and son, but that could make
well,
sense.
we have references from the guys in southern Canada, where the father and the son take off and go down and go prospecting all over the western U.S. Father and son. Son grew up with the mother's belief system and everything that she had. She was Ojibwe, probably, Cree. So that's how he grew up. And so if they go up in the middle of nowhere, the father probably respects the son's belief system, and the son is coming up here doing prayers. I think they're like prayers, or like I was saying earlier, like Bible verses, but in the Ojibwe system.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be out of the Bible,
Right,
for
right,
all
right,
I know,
right.
but that sort of thing. So it wouldn't surprise me if it's just a couple of them for the most part, but then we have different sites in other places where it looks like local people are probably copying some of that Western message, like the one in the big caves west of Grand Junction, where you have Western message, only 3 symbols, but they're Western message symbols, in the middle of this huge cave full of prehistoric stuff.
Really?
And I think probably they were in contact with whoever's doing the Western message, and it's probably the local people who wrote them in there, but it could have been the Western message people that were in there, because the Spanish Trail runs right in front of the caves. So it could be any number of things, but it just makes sense to me. Okay, you interviewed some guy in Silver City, I think it was,
Yeah.
that said, yeah, me and my friend went all over the western United States, and he listed off New Mexico and Arizona and everywhere else, prospecting, just the 2 of them.
Yeah.
And he listed in your video what areas they covered, and I thought, holy cow, he could have been the one that did this sort of stuff. Somebody like that.
Yeah.
That was out prospecting. Well, I think they're prospectors. Maybe it's thinks they're cowboys.
Of course, he did it. He did it. He had a car, I think these are old enough that they travel on the rail or using a horse.
I think they were having a horse too.
Well,
More so than
I don't know. You got
car.
what, the Blackfeet coming down into northern Colorado? It took 2 days
Yeah.
on horseback. Well, I mean, if they wanted to go to Texas, certainly the Cheyenne did. They, in the Kiowa, they came all the way from southern Montana and ran down to Texas and back again in no time at all. So,
Yeah, that's true.
those guys on horseback, if they just took off
That's
and
true.
went, and you get these old-time prospectors with a horse and a mule, and they take off and go for days or weeks or whatever and cover tremendous amounts of country. So how much country
people cover is a big question.
Like that one we just looked at.
And
this afternoon, you know,
yeah, we have Western message petroglyphs scattered all over the place. We have a different writing system up there in Washington and Oregon,
But
and it doesn't look like that overlaps with Western message at all, and Western message doesn't go up into their country. So all of a sudden you have this territoriality sort of thing going on.
however, few of
But
these
you have people running all over prospecting and looking for silver,
That's-
and,
yeah,
and
that's
it's a father and son, and the son's saying, "Okay, Dad, I'm going up and doing a prayer up in the mountains." Probably the father's going to be with him. The two
Yeah.
of them, and
Yeah.
they go way up here
symbols repeat, but
and
phrases repeat and so forth.
and draw this stuff on the wall while they're singing
I think it's probably
ritual
one
songs.
central person.
'Cause everybody sings whenever they do something like this.
Or
And maybe they were looking for silver up here, and maybe not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But you know, we talked about when we were at Pios that I thought this is a classic example of a Western message site next to a mine. Now, which one came first? I don't know.
Right.
But I think they're related.
Yeah.
I don't have any question.
Yeah.
And I can be wrong. There's no
Yeah,
problem.
yeah.
I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
But it sure looks like they're related to me, which brings in the whole prospector thing.
one of the trails.
And in that museum there, they had
So
all the mining tools and everything, really fine chisels
Yeah.
that they kept super sharp. That would be perfect for making this stuff. You know?
Yep.
mostly they're up on the high ground.
Yep.
Anyways,
Well, all I know is I've give up trying to figure out what they are because every time I think something, I get shot down, man.
well,
I'm gonna let you guys figure it out.
I want to look at the symbols and see what the symbols look like, and
To get jobs and
you know how many of this are at different places. And that's what I was talking to Lee about. He has different orders of certain symbols, and they occur at different sites.
Right?
Okay. When you have four symbols together, the same symbols in the same order, and they occur at four sites across
Yep.
western United States,
Yep.
you have some meaning there somewhere.
Right.
Repeated meaning.
Yep.
Repeated message.
Yep.
picture symbols.
And that's why I tell Lee, I mean, he has a database, look at it, start pulling that stuff out and putting it together and see what he gets.
So you guys got to meet Taylor. He's putting together a database of all the symbols, what symbols are what, and you can punch in.
But they were
Oh, he's got one too. Cool.
That's what Taylor's doing?
Yeah. You're gonna have to. We're gonna have to compare them.
Judy had her thing that she published, of course, in her
just a
book.
name with an arrow.
Lee's doing another database, and I just have where are the sites and what they look like, and then photos. And
Yeah, I started to write one on a piece of paper, but I gave up. There got to be too many sites. So we didn't talk about these, but my personal belief, there would have been a red handprint over this one right here. I don't know if you concur, but that's what I say. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
You know what? We see that often enough.
Yeah.
Well, in what we call in the classic layout, where you got these parallel lines of glyphs, you'll often get these other glyphs that I call signifiers. I think Judy calls them ancillary glyphs. People have different names for them, but they appear off to the side or above or below, and the ones that have the handprints on them, to me, they're like heraldic. They're like, you know, I was here. You know, I have something to say about this, and that's my crest or that's my sign.
Yeah,
It's just,
and one time I thought it was the signature of the person who wrote this, but these are all pretty close to the same handprint, I think. There ain't more than 2 or 3 different people doing this, and there's way more handprints over these, so I don't think it's the signature anymore. I think it means something else.
it well could, because we simply don't know at
Yeah.
this point. That image.
Just one here.
Oh, is there another one?
Maybe two. They were trying to do another one.
Oh, yeah, just a little.
Starting
thing
on
there,
one. Starting on a second one even.
This, we see that at Austin, on that second panel behind the big panel.
Yep.
That's a signifier that's down at the bottom of the panel. Here it's off to the side.
And I haven't studied these for a while, so I don't remember, but we see this.
And that we see at Austin also.
That's at Austin also.
And
And we're not that far from Austin.
And
So
we also see it at Cedar City on the back panel, on the back side,
oh yeah.
and probably a couple other places.
Yep.
So I call them signifiers because they signify something. I just don't know what.
Yeah.
So they're the signifier glyphs.
Jerry, man, you don't know how much I appreciate you for showing this. You know, it's just one more puzzle, man, to try and fit the whole thing together, you know, and without your help, we wouldn't have ever known about this, you know? So,
Yeah, my pleasure.
thank you for reporting it. So I just want to say one other thing here. You know, when I found a set of these in Provo, Utah, high in the cliffs, and that's what got me on the journey of tracking these down when I found out there's some others. When I found out about there was only 12 of these scattered throughout the western United States. Now, Lee, you're saying there's 39 of these scattered. In the beginning, I thought these were treasure symbols. I thought they had to do a Spanish treasure. You know, with all these scattered like they are, they're not. This is a message just saying something to somebody. And, you know, so if you're hiding these because you think this is treasure, man, it's not. Get a hold of me. Man, the more we can find of these, the more we can put together the trail where this person traveled, and the more we got a better chance of figuring out what these say. So, and with that said, that's a wrap, except for thank you, Jerry.
You got it.
Bravo.